I have to start with what is this big overarching topic that came out of SmackDown a week ago that got touched on a little bit on Monday and is expected to go to another level Saturday at Elimination Chamber. And that, of course, is the return of the final boss. It was put out ahead of time prior to last week's SmackDowns that the final boss was going to be in town and that there'd be a press conference after SmackDown went off the air. And boy, it was a weird promo. And I've now had over a week to just kind of break it down and digest it and try to figure out what the hell exactly The Rock was talking about. Because in fairness, The Rock didn't make a ton of sense in what he was saying to Cody Rhodes. Most notably, Cody comes out, he's got the belt over his shoulder, and The Rock once again gives him his flowers for being this great champion and carrying the company for a year. And then he tries to, not retcon, but certainly tries to explain how he went from beating Cody Rhodes with a belt with Mama Rhodes' name on it a year ago in the rain, bloodying it up, and having that belt again at WrestleMania 40. How we got from that to within a year, him giving Cody his flowers on the first episode of Raw on Netflix, and tried to kind of make sense of it and talked about the fact that they've become friends and they've taken shots at tequila and that their moms are friends now, and they showed the picture over on the Tron and on the screens. And there's this weird sort of dynamic going on right now where for a long time I've wanted Cody to kind of lean into the Homelander thing, right? Where he's actually a heel, but he believes that he's the hero of the story. And there's part of me that almost wants to believe that The Rock is that times 100, where The Rock is almost split personality, that Dwayne Johnson is in there somewhere, and that The Rock is in there somewhere, and the final boss is in there somewhere. And that the way that The Rock kind of talks about being the head of the board, the chairman of the board of TKO, and the fact that he is the boss of the boss of the boss, that he's Triple H's boss, and he's Cody Rhodes' boss, he's everybody's boss, that there's this crazy part of him that just feels like that's a good thing to kind of throw out there all the time. But then, after SmackDown, he kind of goes and pulls back the curtain to the media, and it pissed off a lot of people. I listened to Busted Open, and Dave LaGreca lost his mind because, of course, he did. He does about just about everything. And I'm sitting there going to myself, all right, what are we really trying to get out of the storyline? And how does it really set up for Mania? Because if you somehow missed it in the last week, The Rock has this face-to-face with Cody Rhodes, and he says, I want that. And Cody looks at the belt on his shoulder and says, you want my title? And he says, no, I don't want your title. I want your soul. Which, in fairness, seems psychotic and crazy, and also doesn't seem like a quantifiable thing. How does The Rock want a guy's soul? How does he want Cody Rhodes' soul? What does that even include? And so he tells Cody, I have 500 million followers. You have a few million followers. I want to take you to that next level, but in order to do that, you need to be my champion. And Cody does the thing that the good babyface does. He points out to the people, and he says, but I'm their champion. Oh, no, The Rock knows that. But The Rock wants you to be my champion. All right, well, what exactly does that mean? And is there a chance that The Rock's going to be able to convince Cody Rhodes? Now, mind you, he gave this ultimatum a week ago, all right? Elimination Chamber is this Saturday. So in the course of about a week, Cody has to grapple with his friend and the boss of his boss of his boss, that guy saying, I want you to be my champion. Well, what does that mean exactly? He has a few days remaining to make a decision. Now, if Cody is this true blue babyface, he's going to say no to The Rock at Elimination Chamber. We probably assume that we're going to see Cody on SmackDown on Friday. But we saw him this past Monday, and we saw a stare down with Seth Rollins, and Rollins saying, don't make me regret helping you win that title a year ago, dethroning Roman Reigns. Don't make me regret it. And then he also kind of does what CM Punk did not that long ago and says, look, I respect you. I respect you as the champion, but I will win the Elimination Chamber, and I will come for that championship, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, there is a very interesting overarching idea here around the Elimination Chamber itself, because if you look at the field of competitors, there is a way to potentially, and I mean, kind of, there's a way to make a case that just about anybody who's going to be in that match could ultimately win it. Now, in fairness, I think that it's at this point, it's pretty clear that it has to be one of maybe 2 or 3 guys. John Cena is going to be one that everybody's going to assume would make a lot of sense. For a long time, it's been rumored that Cody versus Cena could be something that happens. Kind of hard to imagine that you're going to put two legit baby faces face-to-face in the main event of WrestleMania, especially given all that's happening. Given the return of the final boss, seems almost unfathomable that you would have two baby faces going toe-to-toe in the main event. Like, where does The Rock fit into that? It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Drew McIntyre, if you remember, when he re-signed with WWE, was gifted, I believe, the sword, right, from The Rock. And there was a message that was kind of sent through that The Rock couldn't make it, but he wanted to, congratulate Drew, told Drew that he was going to be back. So for me, like, the dark horse coming out of the Elimination Chamber is Drew McIntyre, because we've established on Instagram, at the very least, where The Rock is very active and where we've kind of seen continuations of stories going back to last year of The Rock really leaning into Instagram especially. Could Drew McIntyre be the guy who sells his soul? Could he be the guy who, kind of becomes the chosen one again? The same way that he was once chosen by Vince McMahon, could he be chosen again by the guy in charge? And in this case, that is the final boss. I think that's the one to keep an eye on. Would I love to see a heel John Cena? Sure. Would I love to see a heel Cody Rhodes or a Homelander Cody Rhodes? Yes, but I don't think that's where it's going. That part doesn't totally make a lot of sense. Do I think Damian Priest wins the Elimination Chamber? No, although we have seen backstage segments between The Rock and Damian Priest in the past, or we've seen some things that didn't air on TV of those two interacting. I don't think Damian Priest is going to win that. It felt like Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, after what happened in the Royal Rumble, were kind of on a collision course with one another. We saw seeds get planted between Logan Paul and CM Punk. I can't imagine that that's going to be a Mania matchup. And then you have Rollins there, where Rollins has sold out in the past to Triple H, of all people, to join Triple H and the corporation of sorts, right? To join that group, to join with the people in charge. But man, there's part of me that says CM Punk is this very interesting wedge in all of this, because, well, Punk has previously complained about The Rock coming in and stealing the spotlight, being a part-timer. Remember, he kind of alluded to this a year plus ago when he came back to WWE about having the spotlight stolen by a part-timer. Could there be a scenario where CM Punk somehow aligns himself with The Rock? Is that ultimately going to be the payoff? Is that going to be the favor from Paul Heyman? Is there going to be a favor where Roman Reigns, who's not part of the Elimination Chamber, is going to get involved to help Punk win, and that's the favor? Could it be that Punk, the favor is going to be to align himself with The Rock, and you're going to get Punk as a heel versus Cody, the babyface, at WrestleMania 41? I don't know. Could Seth Rollins sell his soul, which, in fairness, Cody said on Raw has already been compromised? That was thrown out there. There is a lot of intrigue in the Elimination Chamber match. Now, I think there already was a lot of intrigue. And if you can get through a lot of what The Rock's promo was, which was kind of all over the place, we had babyface moments, we had definite heel moments. If you can cut to the core of what the final boss is asking of Cody Rhodes, the Elimination Chamber match just goes up, 5 or 6 levels. To me, I don't actually know where it's going to go. Now, again, a heel Cena or a heel Punk or a heel Cody, one of them aligning with The Rock would be awesome. That, to me, would be the best case scenario. Could you get a CM Punk losing in the Elimination Chamber, getting bounced from the Elimination Chamber match, only to come back out at the very end after presumably a Cena wins, but nay, Punk cashes in the favor with Paul Heyman, which goes up to the final boss. Punk gets reinserted into the match and beats John Cena. Could that happen? I don't know. I'm overbooking this now. But, you get the point. There are a lot of interesting things that can come out of this match. Ultimately, we all, probably, expect Cody to turn down the final boss, which is going to piss him off something fierce. And then, presumably, the final boss is going to hand select one of these guys to win the match. Now, we assume that Cody turning down The Rock will happen some point earlier in the show than the Elimination Chamber. Hence, The Rock will essentially hand select the guy that's going to come after Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. Now, there's this Roman Reigns-sized hole in the plot that I still can't totally figure out. And I still don't know how he fits in. It seems almost unconscionable that Roman Reigns wouldn't be involved in the main event of a WrestleMania, just given how big the tribal chief was. But could they be looking to go in a slightly different direction for Mania? I don't know. But I'm actually very excited about Elimination Chamber because they have done such a good job of layering multiple stories. And this match could ultimately set up 3 or 4 different programs for WrestleMania itself. So I think it's really, really difficult to predict where it's going to go.